and respondents can answer questions online at agcounts.usda.gov.
That's today's Focus on the Field with Bridgette Readel, your ag industry expert. Tune in for Bridgette's Ag News updates each weekday here on WDAY.
You can always count on Miller High Life, the champagne of beers. Always crisp, always easy drinking, always just right. The perfect balance of flavor and refreshment since 1903. Welcome to the High Life. (2019) Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Celebrate responsibly.
Get more than just a great deal. Get the Luther Advantage. Every pre-owned vehicle comes with a 60-day, 2,500-mile warranty. Every pre-owned vehicle comes with a 5-day, 500-mile return policy. Use your Luther Advantage card and save on gas, or even a car wash at any Holiday Station store. Get the Luther Advantage at Luther Family Buick GMC, corner of I-29 and 32nd Avenue South in Fargo.
You know the voice.
1,000-mile-an-hour soup.
Well, let's just get right into it, shall we? Why not? As always, a bunch of topics to toss out. We hope you respond to them. I like getting the emails, but I'd rather talk to listeners on the phone. It's just so much more fun. And that was a treat to go to A&W once in a while. Step down, go, okay, let's go. We're going to load up. Let's go. We're going to A&W. Oh, God, yes!
He's Jay Thomas, heard weekday afternoons at 2 here on AM 970 and FM 93.1 WDAY. 970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM, Fargo Moorhead.
And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki alongside meteorologist extraordinaire Superman Justin Storm and our wonderfully beautiful, talented Ag Director Bridgette Readel, who is still stuck
trapped in a snowstorm
in South Dakota.
Oh my.
I hope you're getting room service and free breakfast and all that good stuff down there, at least, Bridgette.
No, this is pure.
Okay.
This is all I'm getting.
I'd file a complaint.
With who?
There goes a bad Yelp review.
No one's going to be able to help me out with this. But, and again, for all those who are listening, and if you're debating about getting out on the roads, when you are seeing road reports that say no travel advised, plows are currently not doing maintenance on the road, sheriff's departments are saying don't travel, they really mean that. So did I strongly debate with getting on the road this morning knowing I drive a pickup, I'm sure I'll be fine? No, the best place to be is here, not stuck in a snowbank. So I might really want to get home, hopefully for a Bison game tomorrow night, and not spend the night sleeping in my pickup. So here I am.
Exactly. Yeah, and I can't urge everybody enough, stay home. Blizzard warnings just to the west of the valley, winter storm warnings up and down the valley into western Minnesota. It's just a mess out there. We've seen snowfall rates about an inch an hour. Visibility here in the FM area has been less than a quarter of a mile. We can't even see the intersection of 29 and 94 behind us, which is a few blocks. I mean, it's travel, even on the interstate system, is ice. I had to run a few errands. And even in town, not downtown, but in town, visibility 3-4 blocks. It was just, the roads are absolutely horrendous. So please stay home. If you absolutely have to get out, make sure you have a winter weather survival kit in your vehicle. That's a must going out. And 94 is closed westbound, west of Valley City going out past Bismarck. So, again, 94 is not even an option. 29 is still open, but I'll tell you, it is a sheet of ice and snow. Just a good day to kind of hunker down. We still have the heaviest snow falling over the FM area. Looking at radar now, up towards about Fertile. Another very heavy band from Hillsboro through about Page, Tower City, Valley City. This heavy snow band will continue to wrap to the west. Normally it goes west to east. This is going east to west. And I think the snow should start to taper off here in the FM area probably by about 3 o'clock to a more of a light to moderate snow. At least visibilities will improve a touch, but we still have to deal with the blowing snow that's going to accompany this even after the heavy snow kind of winds down. So just a nasty day out there, guys.
Really is not very fun up there. And I'm up here in Grand Forks, also stuck like Bridgette, and the visibility is just garbage in town. It's basically the same as in Fargo, just a handful of blocks, and we're starting to get one of those heavier bands setting up over Fargo. So, you know, like Dean was mentioning, I-29, 94, travel not advised, partially, completely snow-covered roads out there. It's just a mess, and likely going to stay like that for the rest of today.
Yeah, and when we come back, we have to pay some bills. When we come back, we'll go over how much more snow we're expecting out of this, and we'll also touch on dangerously cold wind chills as we head into next week. More of that coming up after the break. Stay with us.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Destructive storms hitting the south, 3 dead in Louisiana, tornadoes taking out blocks. Power out to thousands. ABC News senior meteorologist Rob Marciano is in heavily damaged Harvey, Louisiana.
This was frighteningly close to crossing the river and hitting downtown New Orleans. And that's not the only tornado that came through southeast Louisiana. There was 2 others with damage and injuries there. The threat is now pushed to the east in parts of Florida, where we expect to see a threat today and through tonight, and then up the east coast into the Carolinas a little bit.
Retail sales down as inflation chips away at your buying power.
Up until now, retail sales have been strong even in the face of inflation. But in November, the figure slipped 0.6%, according to new federal data. Tumbling car sales get much of the blame, as does a steep decline in sales of building materials. Meanwhile, Americans were spending more last month at bars and restaurants.
ABC's Jim Ryan, the drop in retail sales on top of Wednesday's Fed announcement of a 0.5% rate increase, and more to come, sending stocks lower today. The Dow off 667 points. The first of 3 men convicted in a plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer was sentenced to 12 years in prison this morning. We're awaiting sentencing for the other 2, which could be up to 20 years after being convicted of providing material support to a terrorist act. Survivors of the Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde, Texas, will testify about gun violence before a House committee today. ABC's Jay O'Brien says it's an effort for the Democratic majority in the House to look into issues that might not get the same amount of airtime when Republicans take over.
It's part of a larger string of hearings that we've seen over the last few days. We saw it in the House yesterday with survivors of the Club Q shooting, where Democrats are holding these priority hearings before they lose control of these committees come January when Republicans take control of the House.
Congressional lawmakers getting closer to approving a stopgap measure that would fund the government until December 23rd. You're listening to ABC News.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
John, Renee, Drew, and Adam at Welton's Tire Service in Lisbon send their warmest wishes for a blessed Christmas to you and your loved ones. May your holiday be filled with the best of everything life has to offer. They hope you will bless the past, enjoy the present, and soak in the fun and memories to cherish in the days to come. Merry Christmas from the Welton's Tire Service family to yours. Welton's Tire Service on Main Street in Lisbon.
Hey, buddy, what are you doing?
Just a little recycling, getting rid of this old hose, and don't want to throw it away.
You do know you can't recycle that, right?
Why not? It's plastic. I suppose I can't recycle my old plastic bags or old Christmas lights.
Well, you're right. You can't. Sorry, man. Listen, recycling works great when you know what to put in the recycling bin. If it's not a bottle, a jug, or a tub, it'll clog the system, slow down the process, and cost us all a lot of time and money. For more info on this, go to MinKotaRecycling.com.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us. 1:11 right now in the afternoon, 30 degrees outside Fargo. Visibility down to a quarter mile as a winter storm warning is ongoing with blizzard warnings just west of the valley. I'm meteorologist Justin Storm with Ag Director Bridgette Readel and Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki. And if you'd like to join in on our conversation today, ask a question, give a comment, or even a road report, we'd love to hear from you on what's going on out there around the area. Give us a phone call, 701-293-9000. Again, our studio lines, 701-293-9000. Or you can always reach us via email during or after the show at weather@flagfamily.com or ag@flagfamily.com. Now, before we get into an ag topic, weather's been a pretty big topic for the last couple of days, and it's continuing to be impactful on travel out there. I-29, I-94, travel not recommended up and down the valley. I believe the interstate is closed from Jamestown to Dickinson. It's just an absolute mess out there. So again, give us a phone call. We want to hear what it looks like where you're from. But Dean, what should we be expecting for the rest of today? And, is anything going to change for the rest of today into tomorrow?
Well, the good news is conditions will improve by about 3 o'clock as the back edge of the heavy snow just passing through the Ulen area, stretching down towards Wahpeton and moving westwards. So Lakes Country already starting to see improved visibility. Now, we're not going to shut the snow off, but we will improve it from about a quarter mile to probably a mile or better. So that will help here in the valley here by mid to late afternoon. But the winds are still going to be on the strong side, producing a lot of blowing snow, especially in the open country. If you're going out west, that's where the heavier snow bands are going to be setting up for the rest of the afternoon. From about, let's say, Findlay through Cooperstown, Valley City, and then pushing towards Jamestown. So conditions will worsen out west. So what we're seeing now, they're going to see out west, while we start to see slight improvement in terms of the heavy snow. Then we'll deal with just light to moderate snow for all the way through tonight and into early tomorrow. Actually, through most of the day tomorrow, we'll see at least light snow. With additional accumulations or total snowfall accumulations from today and tomorrow, about 4 to 8 inches, a pretty good bet. And it's going to be that lighter, fluffier snow, so that's going to blow around a lot, especially tomorrow as well. As we head into the weekend, things quiet down, but it turns cold with temperatures in the single digits for highs by Sunday. Could see a little clipper system come through here Sunday, ushering in even colder Arctic air. Could see some very minor accumulations from that. And then as we head into next week, it's Christmas week, a lot of people traveling. And although I think it'll be quiet around here for travel, we're going to have wind chills by Tuesday and Wednesday, 40, 50 below, not out of the question, with highs well below zero and nighttime lows, if we can clear things out, probably about approaching 20 below. So dangerously cold weather next week as you plan to travel. I think it'll be quiet here. There might be a snow event to our south next week. If you have any travel plans going into the central and the southern plains, they could get some snow down that way, but it'll just be bitterly cold up here. And boy, oof, yeah.
So guys, I have a question, and as Dean said, we're in the Red River Valley anyway. You're on the back edge of this whole situation, and so you will likely not see that go to a blizzard warning, which you are seeing as you go further west across the state. That's correct?
That's correct, yeah. And if we were in the heart of the heavy snow and it was expected a few more hours, they probably would have issued a blizzard warning for the valley, but their explanation is conditions are going to improve slightly enough to be it wouldn't make the blizzard warning threshold. So that's the reason they did not issue it for the valley. But it's blizzard-like conditions out there. But by about 3-4 o'clock, things will start to improve a little bit.
So also, I guess that begs the question is, this is going to blow through, but then we're just going to be left to deal with the wind. We've got a lot of light, fluffy snow out there, and then cleanup, because where I'm at, even the sheriff's departments have issued warnings and said, if you go out on the road, we're not coming to get you. We've taken the plows off the road, so you need to stay where you're at, because this is a fairly unprecedented snowfall in central South Dakota, which they needed. If this had been a 3-day rain in August, you guys, everybody would love you. This would be an ideal situation, but we don't have that right now. It's going to be a bit chilly out there.
Yeah, for sure, Bridgette, for sure.
Bridgette, do you want to introduce who our guest is going to be when we come back from our upcoming break? I think it'll be another fun conversation we got lined up here.
We rarely have a boring conversation, folks. It just depends on what you're thinking for the day. But our guest who's going to be joining us is Duane Bernhardson. He's with KWS Seeds. Now, there's going to be some background information. We've got it in an email that we've been reading about the history. This is a German company. They do a lot of work globally in seeds. In fact, I just happened to visit with a guy here at the hotel who has worked with them about a hybridization in rye. We probably want to visit a little bit about sugar beets because that's our market in the Red River Valley. This is the company that helped introduce the Roundup Ready gene into sugar beets. That's my understanding. Let's ask Duane about that. And he also comes from a long family history of extension service work in Minnesota, North Dakota. So those will be other things we want to visit about with him. And he'll be joining us in our next segment, which will be starting here shortly. We're going to start that after we get a chance to catch up with a few sponsors. We'll probably keep reviewing the weather, maybe throw up the radar for everybody to take a little look at as well as we go through today's program. Thanks for joining us here on Weather and Ag in Focus. It's 1:17, and we'll be right back after this.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
Dad, I don't feel good.
I'll grab the Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey.
Isn't DayQuil just for parents?
Actually, Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey is just for kids, specially designed to treat kids' most bothersome cold symptoms quickly, with a honeylicious tasting flavor kids like.
You know what else kids like?
DayQuil Kids Honey first, then video games.
Deal.
Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey. The kids' honeylicious daytime coughing, congestion, stuffy head, stuffy nose medicine. Safe for ages 6+.
Did you know that periodontal disease is the #1 health problem in small animal patients? Hello, I'm Dr. Calderwood, a veterinary dental practitioner at Prairie Winds Veterinary Center. By 2 years of age, 80% of dogs and 70% of cats have some form of periodontal disease. If you notice a change in your pet's playful habits, breath, or facial swelling, there's a chance that your pet is suffering from mouth pain. Prairie Winds Veterinary Center can help. Call us at 701-356-5600 or learn more at prairiewindsvet.com.
You can always count on Miller High Life, the champagne of beers. Always crisp, always easy drinking, always just right. The perfect balance of flavor and refreshment since 1903. Welcome to the High Life. (2019) Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Celebrate responsibly.
They say it's good to be king. And that is true. But to be king of all the Comfort King, bears great responsibility. For all Comfort King sleepers are protected by the lifetime comfort guarantee and our soft spot warranty. So welcome all to the land of comfort. Come to Comfort King.
Visit us at Comfort King, I-94 and 45th Street, or at comfortking.net.
Pucklet Chevrolet Buick GMC in Valley City makes it easy to find your next Chevrolet Buick GMC or pre-owned vehicle by offering a great selection at our best prices possible.
Welcome to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette, Readel Ag Director, along with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, as well as meteorologist extraordinaire Justin Storm. And Justin Storm, this week it seems to be all about you. One storm after another. Not bad, right?
Yeah, not like a good 4 or 5 day storm.
Well, we happen to have a guest with us today who also was raised in the Red River Valley area, and maybe he wants to talk about those storms of the century he recalls too. And I'd like to introduce our audience to Duane Bernhardson. I think I said that right. And Duane is with KWS Seeds. And Duane, I'm going to need you to give us some background, because I know all the seed companies that sell seed, but you're kind of that background guy who doesn't necessarily sell it. So tell us more.
Yeah, that's right, Bridgette. Thanks. Yeah, KWS Seeds is you would say a technology supplier here in North America. So we support a couple brands in North America as far as in the sugar beet seed business. And as a company overall, we also have a cereals division in the U.S. and have a partnership on the corn side, you would say. KWS itself, based out of Europe, we operate in 70 countries worldwide that the KWS brand is sold in, and just kind of a unique situation here in North America, you would say.
So when I first heard you talking about your business and industry, we talked a lot about sugar beets, and we know that's pretty near and dear to the hearts of those in the Red River Valley. So care to tell us about what you do in the beet market, or how you got there maybe?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I've been in the sugar beet business for just over 30 years now in the Red River Valley. Started out as a sales manager with Beta Seed, so representing the Beta Seed brand here in the Red River Valley, and then moved to business development, which then moved me to the arm of KWS Seeds. We're not real, I would say, top of mind when it comes to the sugar beet business, and the reason being that is KWS has brought the technology. The first thing that if you talk to a grower and say, KWS, where did that come from? Roundup Ready. So the Roundup Ready trait that came in sugar beet genetics came from KWS. So that was how kind of the name, I would say, got to be a little more well-known here in North America. The next trait that KWS has brought, I would say, is CR Plus, which brings a high level of Cercospora tolerance, and a big issue here, especially in the Red River Valley, the eastern production sides of the U.S. So that, and then the next one in the pipeline is the Truvera trait, so a new herbicide tolerance stack trait. On the other side of it, I brought some other technology here as well. So we have our Beetrometer, which is a NIR methodology for analyzing sugar beet quality. So the ability to analyze beet quality, so first and foremost would be known as far as grower samples. So grower gets paid for how much sugar he delivers on his contract, and we have the methodology that's able to automate that process in the lab and bring a whole, you could say, a whole new generation of the ability to analyze sugar beet quality.
So is that something you're doing for the local co-ops like American Crystal Sugar and Mindac, is analyzing that sugar beet quantity or qualifying it anyway when they do their annual meeting estimates?
Yeah, so actually we converted, our first customer here in North America was American Crystal. So their quality lab in East Grand Forks now uses our technology, our Beetrometer technology. So instead of using the old wet chemistry process where the beets went through a big saw, bunch of blades, slice the beets, create what you call in the industry brine. It's just the sawdust of those slices. Then they have to mix that, use you call it a wet chemistry process to determine to extract how much sugar is in those beets, as well as the impurities. So using NIR, we have a patented chopper design that tears those beets apart in a manner so that a bunch of juice doesn't flow out of it, which contains sugar. And then we present that sample, and we analyze a much larger aspect of that sample that's delivered, and then can share in 20 seconds. We can tell you how much sugar, how much recoverable sugar, and the dry matter, those components. So that can be done in 20 seconds, whereas the process before would, essentially take 20 minutes, you would say, for the whole realm of that to be done. So taking chemistry and making it digital.
Okay, that's awesome, because as the kid who had to take chemistry more than once, perhaps. I find it ironic. I worked in the crop protection business, and you're making that explanation a whole lot easier than I ever would. So now, when we talk about sugar beets, you mentioned bringing the Roundup Ready trait into sugar beets. Did you guys do that as a way of breeding sugar beets? Was it like a molecular insertion genetically? How did you do that kind of thing, and how did you get that trait there?
So the trait came from Monsanto. So Monsanto had identified and developed that trait, and then you have to make the transformation. I would say the kind of the simplistic way of saying that, of inserting that gene into material, and then it goes through a process of testing to make sure it's that gene and didn't bring some baggage with the gene, so that you have the purity you need, so that when you're going to breed it and develop it out, that those beets are going to be resistant to Roundup. Same process they used in soybeans, corn. That it's the same process. It's just unique. I would say sugar beets are unique because we're a small crop. So there's 1 million acres in the U.S. Doesn't quite fit the realm of corn and soybeans. We're a unique crop, but a crop that brings a lot of value, not only to the areas that it's produced, but also really to the whole U.S. because half of the sugar produced in the U.S. is from sugar beets, and the other half is from cane. Keeping those sugar beet factories going and allowing the producers to have a high value crop really helps the economics in those areas, as well as working to make sure that the U.S. has sugar to use, and it's extremely important, especially coming into the holiday season.
Well, I was going to say, we're in Christmas cookie season right now, Duane. This sugar is probably one of the most vital things.
Absolutely.
We could have on hand at this point. So we are visiting with Duane Bernhardson. He is with KWS Seeds and KWS Seeds. I got to make sure I say all of those initials. And for those who are listening, especially if you are in agriculture in the Red River Valley and you have questions about where some of this has come from or how it's happened, you can call us at 701-293-9000, and we'll be happy to answer questions as we go through our segments with Duane today. Duane, we have a couple of moments here before we're going to hit the bottom of the hour, and just wanted to ask, you have a fairly extensive background yourself with ag and extension, if I'm not mistaken. So do you want to just touch on that highlight before we take a chance to catch up with sponsors?
Sure, yeah. I grew up in Moorhead. My dad was a county agent for 30 years in Clay County. So I kind of grew up in that world, as well as the opportunity of both sides of my parents' family farmed at that time. So the Bernhardson side of the history goes way back. Our family was one of the first ones that settled in down by Comstock. Still have our cabin down there today. Just kind of exciting that way. And I went to NDSU, thought I was going to become a banker, have an ag econ degree, and then through a couple of serendipitous routes, you would say, of getting some other experience, I was able to come into the ag world and have stayed in it ever since.
Well, as we come back, Duane, I have some questions for you about how you've worked in the cereals market, because I understand you've got some things going on with some cereal grain crops, as well as sunflowers as well, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll touch on that after we come back from this. Be right back, folks. Don't go anywhere. It's 1:30 in the afternoon, and you're stuck in a snowstorm, so you're listening anyway, and we appreciate that. And we'll be right back.
The holidays are approaching, and it's a great time to show your special someone just how much they're loved. At Wimmer's Diamonds, we believe in love and in surprises. I'm Aaron Wimmer, inviting you to stop into our new inviting showroom to find the perfect and beautiful reminder of your love. Our family, helping your family celebrate your special moments. Wimmer's Diamonds, 4582 32nd Avenue South in Fargo.
From the tower of the Cass County Courthouse to the Black Building and everywhere in between, we've been there for the biggest events in the history of Fargo and Moorhead. Celebrate 100 years of broadcast radio with the biggest names and moments of those 100 years here on WDAY. We're also giving you a chance to win $100 every Thursday all year long. Find all the details at WDAYradionow.com. And thank you for 100 years of memories. We look forward to another 100 years of service to Fargo, Cass County, and to you.
We've got Brian in studio from Collins and Kronk Raymond James.
Brian, I was visiting with my girlfriend the other day, and she's just a few years from retirement. She was wondering if she can still retire if there's a recession just around the corner.
This is why planning is so important. When Collins and Kronk does a financial plan for you, we look at several different scenarios. We consider the positives or the good times, as well as the bad. What if there is a recession? We do the math so we can answer your questions with confidence. We want to help you make smart decisions like when to retire or what investments to use.
Whether it's a recession or an economic boom, Collins and Kronk can help you make the right decisions. If you have $500,000 or more, call Collins and Kronk in Fargo today. 701-235-0119, 701-235-0119. Securities are offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. Collins & Kronk is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services.
When it's time to build outside the box, build with Thor.
Stan, my mother's coming to stay with us indefinitely.
I need a space for the boys. Where can we watch the big screen, play cards, eat wings, drink, and work?
Stan, there's no room in the garage for my garden tools.
Need more space, whether it's a granny flat, a man cave, a decked out shop condo, or a she shed, or a horse barn. They've gotten creative when it comes to thinking outside the box. Thor Buildings at thorbuildings.com.
What do you call a place that feels like home every time you walk in? A place with plenty of TVs to watch a Saturday or Sunday game and still be able to carry on a conversation. It's known for delicious lunch specials, soups, and appetizers made from scratch every day. We call it Midtown Tavern, where they don't skimp on food or drinks anytime. Head to Midtown and enjoy Wednesday wine night, live music nights, and Duane's Pizza any day of the week. That's Midtown Tavern, Highway 10 East in Moorhead. See Facebook for specials, watch parties, and live music.
North Dakota is a special place.
Oil and gas supports more than 60,000 jobs in the state of North Dakota.
And the industry is vital to our economy, adding nearly $4 billion in state and local tax revenues.
Why would we buy oil from dictators when we have it right here? We produce it the cleanest, the greenest of anywhere in the world.
Keep creating great jobs, and right here in North Dakota.
We support North Dakota Oil and Gas.
Paid for by American Experiment, North Dakota. AmericanExperimentND.org.
Did you know you could be a part of feeding the world? Earn top pay while helping farmers. Red E is a Fargo, North Dakota-based company that is helping farmers rebuild their planting and seeding equipment. They have immediate openings for mechanics to go on-site to farms and install their proven products. Enjoy fantastic benefits, incredible quarterly profit sharing, weekends at home, and more. Apply today at rede-ag.com. That's red, the letter E, -ag.com.
The news is brought to you by the North Dakota oil and natural gas industry, advancing the possibilities. Learn more at ndpetroleumfoundation.org.
Welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette, Readel, Ag Director, along with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and Justin Storm, Meteorologist Extraordinaire. The meteorology guys are getting quite a workout this week. They're sort of busy. There's a lot going on. So I guess they're letting me talk a lot today just so I get my time in too. And heads up, we just got notification that I-94 westbound Fargo to Valley City is closed. That joins I-94 closed now from Jamestown to Dickinson. And again, they added to it Fargo to Valley City. So that'll mean Fargo to Dickinson is now closed on I-94. We said westbound, but I'm pretty sure it's closed going both ways, guys. I don't think anybody's delineating if you're going east or west these days. So there's a lot going on out there. Our guest today is, go ahead, Justin. Go ahead, Justin, if you have some weather stuff you want to toss in there real quick.
Oh, no, I was just saying, yeah, the eastbound lane from Valley City to Fargo,
eastbound lane is closed. It says
it's eastbound from Valley City to Valley City to Fargo. Fargo to Valley City is still open, but that will probably follow here soon.
Yeah, I would say things are going to change over the nighttime hours. And boys, better be open when I need to come back tomorrow. Just saying. Okay.
We'll see what we can do.
All right. So Thank you. Our guest today is Duane Bernhardson, and Duane is with KWS Seeds. And this is a global company, a lot of roots based in Europe, but they do quite a bit of work, even for our region, when it comes to cereals and sunflower crops. So, Duane, anything you can share with us there about what you're doing in those categories as a company?
So yeah, it's out of my realm, but I think the biggest thing, that kind of the exciting thing for us at KWS when we talk about cereals, is hybrid rye. So I had the opportunity, it'd be 5 years ago when they launched it in Canada. Just a great product. Brings a different dimension to cereal production. You know, the opportunity to bring that hybrid vigor to bump those yields, as well as one of the cool things I saw on the rye side was just the winter hardiness of it and how that crop was able to adjust. So that's, like I say, that's probably one of the first places that as a grower, you're going to see KWS listed on a seed bag. And I know, they've been marketing it, have growers in Minnesota that are growing it and just have had great responses in regards to that. So that, as far as North American side, I would say is first and foremost what you're going to see when you want to look for that KWS bag. So it's a growing side, and just a great team that they've developed here in the U.S. to be able to help bring products like that to market. I think, Bridgette, some of the other things just to kind of share with you as far as on my end is that we get excited about is trying to bring innovation to agriculture. That's where, like for me, we're really focus, because I don't touch the grower too much, so what we try to do is find ways that we can help the grower and help kind of our industries that we partner with sort out some of those things as well. So that's like just an example. I had a fun, drones are a cool thing that everybody wants to talk about, but what's the hard part? How does that actually work for you as a farmer, and I think the unique part about us in the Red River Valley is people don't realize when we farm, our farmers really farm. They don't go out and have a 40-acre piece of land or whatnot. So we have a hard time working with the providers to understand that our growers are going to go out and going to plant 150 acres, and that's one field, and they're going to have more fields after that. So that, for me, when I look at trying to develop the world of agriculture is one of the big things that we try to find and help our producers all around.
You had mentioned that bringing innovation to farming and agriculture is what you guys are trying to do, and you've spoke about some of the things that you've already brought, but what are some things in the future that you guys are working on or maybe want to start working on?
Well, one of the big things is efficiency. So how can we help the grower and those grower decision wise in regards to that? The drone thing, we've worked with some companies, and I think you'll hear a little bit more about that potentially as we move into the next crop here, is how can we help sort out what works, what doesn't work, what's a good investment, what's not a good investment. Also doing some work as we look at, you call it deep learning or AR learning. So anytime you take a camera or a sensor, how can you train that? How can you get it trained to pick up what needs to be picked up and do it efficiently? And for me, it's really near and dear because, again, like I mentioned, sugar beets are 1 million acres, and corn and soybeans, that's a lot of, that's in the 10 million acres, in just certain areas. So unfortunately, I think the sugar beet sector doesn't get sometimes the big interest, because you're going to fight on a specialty crop like vegetables. So, they're trying to use robotic weeders, things in that nature. And we're trying to find ways that we can bring some of that technology. One of the things we've been working on is how can we help growers identify diseases? What's a good way to identify a disease early and efficiently? So it gets back to, I hate to use the word, but the buzzword sustainability. We want the technology that the grower has to be sustainable. All growers are working to be sustainable, but I'd say the a common person out there doesn't always see it that way. So looking at analyzing, trying to vet out a lot of that technology that can have a fit for us in beet production, and then roll it over into some of the other crops as well.
So when you said, speaking of some of the other crops, does that also roll into oil seeds like sunflowers too, and some things you might be doing there?
So yeah, sunflower side, I haven't had that much of it as a company. We have oilseed rape, which is going to fit in the canola world. So how are we able to potentially make that connection? Sunflowers are part of it. We actually have a potato business that looks at true potato seed and that side of it. We have a partnership with that we're working on. Those are long-term things. And I'd say one thing with KWS is we're a seed company. And if as a company, I'm going to bring you something new in the sugar beet world, that's a 10-year turnaround cycle. So as we look at these things, they have a long turn time on them. And that's the focus that our company has. We're a privately owned, family-owned company. So we're not a big conglomerate that has to look at quarterly earnings and make sure we're hitting our numbers or doing things in that nature. So the decisions that are made as a company are made on a long-term basis. So understanding that it's going to take a little while, maybe going to take a little work. How can we make sure we vet that out? And for me and the people internally that I work with, we try to find how can we be efficient and speed that up to bring it a little faster to the producer or the industry.
And I like what you said there about this is a long game, right? Unlike the weather in the Dakotas and Minnesota that turn around so much faster, you're planning a long way out. And to that extent, projects that you are doing right now, we may not see for several years until they hit the market. And that's got to have a little bit of excitement in it too, that you get to at least look behind the curtain and see the things that are on their way, so to speak.
Yeah, it really is. And we have a group internally, I think, which is exciting for me to work with, is we call it the WDAY. It's our Digital Accelerator Group. So they originally started based in the U.S. Because of that, I would say that understanding mentality of we move fast, we are able to find things, determine if it works, move on. And now it's expanded. We also have a lot of people in Berlin. So they look worldwide, what is the technology that's out there and how can it fit agriculture? So those guys are searching every day. That's their job. Then they find these things and they bring them in and how can they fit? Can they fit? So me and business development is kind of that step between them and then our commercial side of the business. So it is, Bridgette, it is fun because I look at a lot of things and we look at it and it has a cool factor, but in the end, does it have a useful factor? The one thing that I hate is finding, is a grower having to spend a bunch of money to find out something didn't work. The goal is if you're going to work with and partner with somebody and make them sustainable, the last thing you need is for them to burn some money just trying to figure out, oh, that didn't work, I got to move on. So we try to work with that a little bit in the middle. One of the things that also was exciting for me is we had a great relationship with Grand Farm this past year, grew 5 acres of beets, and we call it our little sandbox. So we're a breeding company, and if you look at our plots need to be as perfect as possible, because all we're looking at in our field trials is little differences, and if we look at those little differences, are they going to have an impact for the grower? For me, when I look at technology, I want to look at crappy stands, weedy fields, things in this nature, because I need to figure out how's a fast way to do stand counts so we can get that information to a grower. We have great crop consultants in our region, and those guys are efficient, and they work hard for the money they earn. How can we help them? How can we help the growers so they can get more information and make, not always, I won't say always better decisions, but decisions based on more information. How can we identify weeds? A big thing for me is, we have weed resistance. What can we do to help work through that? And, we partner with universities, private industry, all of those things, and try and bridge that knowledge into a team. And how can we bring that forward and really help the industry and help the grower continue to make the money he needs to stay profitable and keep farming.
Well, and Duane, you mentioned that some of those things that you are showing via Grand Farm, a great place to see them would be at Grand Farm. And hopefully next summer, folks are taking advantage of that when there are open houses and so forth, and maybe taking a look at what you have to show, not necessarily in the trial stage, but what's released for public. Would that be fair?
Yeah, absolutely. And, we try and do some things, off and on throughout the year where we can share that. We have a couple things, we call them internally challenges. So we'll bring in some different providers and kind of sort through and say, maybe we aren't going to say who they all are because they might not want to disclose it. But here's the information that's out there that you can use. And then how, as we continue to work and to build that through, like I say, try to partner with everybody that we work with, and how can those partnerships help, in the end, the producer of the industry, get what they need, I guess is the best way to say that.
Well, Duane, if folks want to take a look at what you're doing, besides seeing it at Grand Farm, where are other places that you'd want them to go look for you?
Just a great spot is our website, KWS.com. That probably is one of the best. There's a lot of information out there. And the fun part about it is you can see what we do worldwide. We have, in parts of the world, we have a group called the Agri-Service Group. So they work locally with producers because in some regions of the world, they don't have the great inputs that our producers here have. And it's fun because as you look at our website and see some of these projects, you're able to pick up what we're doing as a company and bring in things we've learned worldwide and bring them here. So I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of those people, and we share on a regular basis technology worldwide and how can we bring little pieces to each part of our own world to help things improve.
Well, we appreciate all the little pieces that KWS has brought to this part of our world in the Red River Valley. We're going to take some time to catch up on markets with the American Ag Network. Thank you again to our guest today, Duane Bernhardson with KWS Seeds, for answering all of our questions in regards to what they do for us right here in the Valley in agriculture. We'll be back right after this.
Are you suffering from neuropathy? Do you experience stabbing, numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet? Are you tired of sleepless nights and avoiding life due to pain? If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy or have pain or numbness in your feet, call us right now before it's too late at 701-929-7505. Again, 701-929-7505. Neuropathy is a very serious and progressive disease where your nerves start to break down. It can lead to balance problems, complete loss of independence, and in some cases, amputation. Our program addresses the underlying causes and doesn't simply mask your symptoms with medication. In fact, many patients start to feel relief from their symptoms within weeks. There's no surgery and no use of prescription drugs. Pick up the phone and call now at 701-929-7505 or find out if you're a candidate for our neuropathy program that has changed thousands of lives. Call us today at 701-929-7505.
Make a meal and a statement this holiday season with KitchenAid appliances from Readel. We know the holidays can be busy and hectic, so don't let outdated appliances turn you into a Scrooge. Their knowledgeable staff will ensure you find the perfect KitchenAid appliances to make your holiday merry and bright. From impeccable service to top brand appliances, Regal's wants to keep your holiday traditions going. Visit them online at regals.com or stop in at 609 Main Avenue, Moorhead.
The staff of Hanson Runsvold Funeral Home sends sincere wishes of health and happiness to your family and friends.
One of the most important things we can do is serve others. I have learned that giving back to the community helps in ways beyond the simple acts.
We reflect on what matters most, being with those we love and making memories to last a lifetime. May the quiet peace of this holiday season fill your heart and home. Hanson Runsvold Funeral Home, helping families look to the future with hope.
Quarter wheat finds some support. Soybeans mostly lower, with livestock lower in the stock market under heavy pressure on Thursday. This is the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen with this closing market update. Well, it was a rough day in the stock market on Thursday. Follow through from what we got from the Federal Reserve on Wednesday with the 50 basis point rate hike and their hawkish comments from Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. And that really weighed on that stock market and the outside macro markets on the day. The dollar index up around 100 basis points, with the stock market, the Dow, about 900 some points lower on the day. NASDAQ, S&P under heavy pressure. And that had its effect on the grain trade, but quarter wheat found a little bit of technical support on the session in an otherwise quiet news day. Soybeans under a bit of pressure as we continue to bounce off that overhead resistance around $14.90, $15. So a little bit of profit taking there, although bean oil did come back late in the day as NOPA Crushers said members crushed 179.2 million bushels of beans in November, which was less than expected. Crude oil down just slightly on the day. And again, the livestock trade fairly mixed. Cash cattle trade finally starting to get a little activity there as we near the week's end. Final numbers: March quart up 3, 653.5. July quart up 2 3/4 at 649. Soybeans January down 8 3/4, 1473.5. July down 7 1/2, 1483.5. Bean meal January down 480 a ton, 455.30. January bean oil up 27 points, 63.82. March Chicago wheat 8 higher, 757 1/4. March Kansas City wheat up 10 1/4, 860.5. Spring wheat March down 1 1/4 at 916. July up 1, 910 1/4. Live cattle December down 45, 154.05. February down 85, 154.85. Feeder cattle January down 55, 183.05. Hogs February down 175, 81.65, and April hogs down 155 at 89.17. This is the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen.
And welcome back to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us. 1:52 in the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Justin Storm with Ag Director Bridgette Readel and Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki. And still some pretty impactful weather out there, although conditions slowly going to start to improve here in the FM Metro. We're still seeing visibility under a half a mile, and outside of town less than a quarter mile. Winter storm warning remains in effect up and down the valley over into Minnesota until 9 o'clock this evening. It is possible that could be extended or an advisory being issued for tonight. Meanwhile, just west of the Red River Valley, blizzard warnings ongoing until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, where the snow showers are going to just be a bit stronger through this later afternoon into tonight, but we'll still see some scattered snow around the valley for the rest of today into tonight, although we will see a nice little break here coming up. I think it should last until the evening commute. But Dean, what's the rest of the day tonight and tomorrow look like as this storm just kind of sits over Minnesota and brings in, well, I guess you could just say waves of wraparound snow throughout today and tomorrow?
That's exactly right. It's sitting just around the Minneapolis area, and it's just going to sit and spin there like a top with the heaviest snow will push west of the valley as we head into the evening hours. So that's the reason for the blizzard warning out west, the heavy snow combined with the stronger winds out there. We will see our snowfall intensity lighten up here by about 3, 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock for sure. Now, when I say lighten up, I'm talking from near blizzard conditions to, well, at least I can see about a half mile to a mile down the road. So we'll still see on and off light snow overnight tonight. So we're not done with the accumulation after this heaviest band moves through. And we're still going to deal with the winds out of the north, 20 to 30 miles an hour, producing those, the blowing and the drifting of the snow. This is a much lighter consistency to the snow than what we had yesterday. Unofficially, we've picked up about another 6 inches here in the FM area. So again, that's we'll surpass round 1 of this storm before this is all said and done. For tomorrow, like you said, Justin, we'll probably have winter weather advisories issued because as the storm then slowly pivots eastward, the heavier snow bands, which are now moving out west, will kind of slowly move back eastward in a weakened fashion. So additional snowfall tomorrow, probably another 1 to maybe 2 inches as we head into Friday and into Friday night before this starts to wind down. So although tomorrow will be better in terms of snowfall, we're still going to be dealing with the strong winds and the blowing and drifting of the snow. So conditions will improve a little bit tomorrow, but don't let your guard down. It's still going to be pretty bad out there. And then as we head into the weekend, a quiet day on Saturday, maybe a flurry or two, and then Sunday another clipper comes by and drags down even colder Arctic air. Highs by Sunday in the single digits, and then below zero highs for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. Nighttime lows about 15 to 20 below. And again, dangerous, dangerous wind chills approaching 40 below or colder next week. And I know a lot of people might be getting an early jump on holiday travel. Christmas is not this weekend, but the following weekend. And at least it looks quiet in terms of travel around here. But I'll tell you what, just bitterly, bitterly cold. Over the next week or two, make sure you have that winter weather survival kit packed in your car. Last thing you want to do is break down either in the bitter and dangerous cold or the snow event that we've got going on right now. So it's just we're locked into winter, folks. And
well,
yeah.
Dean, you make a really good point, and that we may sound like a broken record about being prepared. There's a whole generation of folks that have not had a 3 or 4 day blizzard in this respect. And I grew up in an era where Dad made sure you were prepared because there was always a chance you'd be stuck in a ditch somewhere, and we did not have cell phones. So if you are going out, fill your tank with gas. Don't go out on the open highways, because even though you may think it looks good in town, it's worse out in the open country, and the snow plows have got to be able to keep up. If you are out there, you might be in their way when they're trying to clear roads. And if the roads haven't been cleared, especially with lower clearance vehicles, you're going to get stuck in what's going on out there. So just pay attention to that right now, too.
Well, and look at what's going on in town here in Fargo. The interstates, they're already starting to get compacting snow in town, and you add the blowing snow outside of town, it doesn't add too much. And Dean, I don't know if you're going into the roads or not.
This just in, I-94, east and westbound out of Fargo closed. I-29, both ways going south of Fargo closed. Still open going north of Fargo, but going south of Fargo. I-29 is closed, and all lanes of 94 between Fargo and Dickinson they are closed. So,
we're also seeing 281 closed, Jamestown to Ellendale, Highway 46, and Highway 13 from 29 to Wapaton, also closed.
Yeah, it's just, even if they're not closed, I-29 going north into Grand Forks is still open, but boy, it's just don't go. Yeah, don't risk it, because once you get outside the city limits, the visibility rapidly deteriorates. So yeah, it's just not a good day to be out for sure.
Again, as a farm kid who grew up in North Dakota my whole life, we always warn out-of-state folks or someone who's new to the area by saying, when they tell you no travel advice, they mean it. And I've had messages from sheriff's departments in the eastern half of North Dakota who have all said, we really don't need you out there. If something were to happen, you now put the emergency personnel at risk. And those are all local volunteers in our small communities. They don't want to have to go drag your silly rear end out of the ditch, literally, because they'll make fun of you in church on Sunday for having done it. So folks, just remember that if you go in the ditch, everybody in your town and county knows, so why risk that kind of shame?
And we have a road report from Tony. Tony is on the line. Tony, tell us what you see, where you're at, please.
Yeah, I'm on Highway 10 heading east towards Detroit Lakes from Fargo, and for the most part, like I said, the snow has really lightened up here as you get into Minnesota. Highway 10 is snow-covered and slippery, but there's very little traffic on it, and the traffic is moving. But visibility, by and large, is okay. It's just that it's slippery. So I've been doing about between 40 to 60 miles an hour, just depending on if it's a straight shot or if there's traffic around or what there is. But it is slippery if you need to slow down or stop or anything else like that. So,
all right. Well, thanks for the
visibility is pretty good on Highway 10 into Minnesota.
All right. Well, thanks for the report, Tony. We appreciate that. And that'll do it for WAG In Focus. We want to thank everybody for joining us. Hunker down. Stay safe. Again, 94 is closed west of Fargo. I-29 is closed going south of Fargo. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
970 W.